So Cyrus the Great, 590 BC to 529 BC. Okay, who wants to read?
Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Persian Empire, starting as a subordinate ruler in southwest Iran. He overthrew by a remarkable series of victories three great empires, those of the Medes, Lydians, or Lydian, no, and Bible. I don't know how can I pronounce, and united most of the ancient Middle East into a single state, stretching from India to the Mediterranean Sea.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You
So
are, okay.
Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Persian Empire, starting as a subordinate ruler in the southwest Iran. So subordinate ruler is like, I guess, it's like lower rank, subordinate, like dependent, but I'm not sure, having a lower or less important position. For
And the
example,
pronunciation is
subordinate.
subordinate, not
I didn't know that. Subordinate. Yeah, subordinate. Exactly. Interesting. So a subordinate role, or subordinate status, or the individual's needs are subordinate to those of the group. So are subordinate to those of the group is like are less important. Okay, and also, yeah, a person who has a less important position than you in an organization. For example, he left the routine checks to one of his subordinates. Okay. So it's like lower, less important, you can say. So Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Persian Empire, starting as a subordinate ruler in southwest Iran. He overthrew by a remarkable series of victories. So overthrew, past tense of overthrow, right? We had this one. It's like, you can say removing someone from power also, but here he overthrew some victories, I guess. In this case,
it's to overthrow by like force, to remove someone from power by force. Like it's not their choice.
Yeah, by overthrowing, it was their victories by overthrowing, right? It's like that, right?
Yeah, actually, between two dashes is explanation. It overthrew three great empires.
Now makes sense. Sorry. Now makes sense. You're right. He overthrew three great empires. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the meaning that I said is right. It's like to remove someone, to defeat an empire. And in dictionary says to defeat or remove someone from power using force.
Yep. Exactly. So it's like removing them but using force, as I said.
Exactly. Okay, so overthrow, past tense of overthrow means to defeat or... Okay. So, starting as a subordinate ruler in southwest Iran, he overthrew three great empires by a remarkable series of victories. Remarkable, astonishing, or noticeable, considerable. Those of Medes, I don't know this ones. It's like three empires was this ones, okay? I don't know. And united most of the ancient Middle East into a single state stretching from India to the Mediterranean Sea. I always have difficulty with pronouncing this one. It's like Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
Right?
I think you pronounced it pretty well. You said
okay.
Mediterranean and that's it.
Yeah, okay. yeah, exactly. Okay, kind of obvious, the first paragraph. So who wants to read the next paragraph until here? Starting from here.
May I?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Cyrus, Kurush in the original Persian, was born about 590 before Christ in the province of Persis, now Fars, in southwest Iran. The area was at that time a province in the Empire of the Medes. Cyrus was descended from a line of local chiefs who were vassals of the king of the Medes.
Thank you, appreciate it. I guess I don't know the pronunciation of this one. It's like Medes, I guess. Meats, okay, meats. Google Translate says like meats, okay. So Cyrus, Kurush in original Persian, was born about 590 BC in the province of Persis, now Fars, in southwest Iran. The area was at that time a province in the empire of, again, it's like Medes, kind of weird, but I guess it's Medes. But
Yes, it is.
okay, so I don't know. It's like, let's see,
Oh,
what
you
is
might
this?
want to remove the S, maybe. You won't find
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because Mead, exactly. Plural noun is Medes. A member of an Iranian people who inhabited ancient Media. Okay, so the area was at that time a province in the empire of the Medes. Cyrus was descended from a line of local chiefs who were vassals of the king, the Medes. So here was descended, I guess we had this one, was, you can say, in this case, it's like, because descent has a lot of meaning. In this case, I guess it's
So
like,
you come from someone that is
yeah,
your lineage.
someone.
His lineage was
Yeah,
from the
it's like that.
local chiefs, whatever.
Yeah, but actually, yeah, it's like, the direct blood relatives like that. But descent, you all know, is the opposite of ascend also, right? To go or come down, right? Descend. And that meaning, I don't know if it has or not. Let me see. I guess. Wait, there is no meaning for that.
Really?
Maybe descending from something. I should search this one.
Yeah.
But I guess in this case, descending from someone. Let me check Oxford.
How about you type in descendant?
Yeah, I guess descendant. Let me see.
It should come
Descendant.
up because it will.
It's in beta. Thank you very much.
No, it's
Yeah.
wrong. It's wrong spelling. You're using a wrong spelling for descendant.
Okay, okay, okay.
It's descend and then you add ANT. Yeah.
Exactly. A person, plant, or animal that is descended from a particular ancestor. Shakespeare's last direct descendants. Descendant. And descent comes
But
from
like
that.
if you had typed in into Cambridge, it would give you like, I don't know, it's a better better explanation in my opinion.
A person who is related to you and who lives after you, such as your child or grandchild. For example, he has no descendants. Okay, and kind of the opposite of ancestor, right? Not the opposite. Um, Not the opposite, right?
No, it's
Yeah,
not. So the
yeah.
descendant is the person who lives after you because an ancestor is from the past. But in this case, they're saying he was essentially a descendant of that line. He was a descendant, but you could also say he is a descendant of the line of local chiefs. That's where these two are related. One is
Exactly.
past tense, and the other one is a noun.
Exactly. And local chiefs here is like local bosses or something.
Yeah, a local
Mhm.
chief, the
I guess
person,
so.
like the tribe in those days. Yeah, it had a lot to
Uh,
do with like, you know, groups like how the Medes came from Media, the empire. But in this
yeah,
case, it
exactly.
was not as big. He didn't come from, but yeah, tribe.
Yeah, exactly. It can be the mayor of or city manager of a city or the county also. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, Cyrus was descended from a line of local chiefs who were vassals of the king of Medes. So vassals of the king of Medes is like, I guess it's like the persons who, you know, The normal people, I
I
guess,
think
it's like
that's
what
vessel. That seems like
Vessel?
vassal something.
I
It
don't
means
know.
it seems to mean something else. I okay, so
It says vassal.
vassal. It says
Yeah.
vassal, and yeah,
Because
means something
vessel has
else.
another meaning. Yeah, I know that one is yeah. Yeah. So vassal, it says in medieval Europe, a man who agreed to fight for a king or lord when needed in exchange for land to live on. Okay. Also, vassal state, a country that is controlled by a more powerful country. Okay. A person in the Middle Ages who promises to be loyal to a lord who will protect him or her. Okay. Like yeah, just that. Kind of like peasant, but of course different. So
Actually,
Cyrus.
not a peasant because they hold a better position because a peasant, in this case, right, they are deciding to fight for the king, but they're not fighting for nothing. They get to hold land. They get to there's an allegiance between the people. If you also look like vassal, it was saying that uh, another name could be a person who's subordinate in a subordinate position of like another person. So in this case, like what it just means was he was below the king, but he was also a chief. A local chief is never peasant. As you looked up,
Yeah.
it said that a chief is like a mayor, so that is no peasant. That is still someone of power, but not as powerful as a king.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. So again, if anyone has any question, just stop me and ask. So who wants to read the next paragraph until here, starting from here?
I can try.
Thank you.
Later tradition created an interesting legend concerning Cyrus, somewhat a reminiscence of the Greek legend of King Oedipus. According to this legend, Cyrus was the grandson of Astyages, king of the myth. Before Cyrus' birth, Astyages had a dream that his grandson would someday overthrow him. The king ordered that the infant be killed promptly after his birth. However, the official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody deed, and instead handed him over to a shepherd and his wife with instructions that they put the child to death. But they, too, were unwilling to kill the boy and instead reared him as their own. Ultimately, when the child grew up, he indeed caused the king's downfall. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So later tradition created an interesting legend concerning Cyrus, somewhat reminiscent of the Greek legend of this king, I don't know this king. So reminiscence means something that reminds you of something else. Uh, Reminiscence, right? Reminiscence of somebody or something, making you remember a particular person, event, or thing. For example, that song is so reminiscent of my adolescence. Okay, so this is reminiscent, and reminiscence is the noun, this is the adjective. So somewhat reminiscent of the Greek legend of king, I don't know this king, I guess, let's see.
I think he, don't quote me on this, but it might be Oedipus. He was known to,
Oedipus.
you know, the Oedipus Complex? It's a known psychological complex that sometimes men will feel like jealous of their fathers and will want to have sexual relations with their mothers. I think he killed his father and ended up like marrying the mother or something. Like if you type him in like in Google, it will say something like that. and a
Meaning,
mythical
maybe?
Greek king. No, it tells you a little bit about. Okay, see, though, this is what I was telling you about. Is the son of Greek mythology who was too attached and too attracted to his mother. He ended up killing his father and marrying his mother.
Wow, okay. Interesting. I mean, okay. So somewhat reminiscent of the Greek legend of King, I guess, I don't know. According to this legend, Cyrus was the grandson of this person, king of the Medes. Before Cyrus' birth, this person had a dream that his grandson would someday overthrow him. Overthrow again, uh, moving him down from power, right, by force, or
Yeah.
removing him, I would say. So the king ordered that the infant be killed promptly after his birth. The infant, a, kind of like a baby, but a baby that cannot walk, right? I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So infant be killed promptly or quickly after his birth. However, the official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody deed. So the official entrusted in this case means what? It's like,
To be assigned to do something. So you're assigned to do a job, like they have given you that responsibility that you must carry through.
The official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody deed. And dictionary says to give someone a thing or a duty for which they are responsible. For example, he didn't look like the sort of man you should entrust your luggage to. Or two senior officials have been entrusted with organizing, I guess the auction it was, right? It was auction, right?
Yes, auction.
Yeah, auction was, sales of goods or property, yeah. So two senior officials have been entrusted with organizing the auction. So have been entrusted here, have been responsible, right?
Yep, we're given this
Yep.
responsibility
Yeah.
or
Okay.
job.
Yeah. I don't know if it has another meaning. It's kind of too similar to trust, but it's not actually. More
Yeah,
something.
because for you to then give someone this, you entrust them with something that is like important. So there is some degree of trust. However, the EN, I think that's where the job comes, like the responsibility comes like in. So it's like, yeah, it's responsibility that is deeply merged with trust, because you don't give someone like a responsibility that is so important if you don't have some degree of trust.
Yeah, indeed makes sense. Okay, so however, so again, the king ordered that the infant be killed promptly after his birth. However, the official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody deed. I guess I remember like a document, or in this case, it's like what?
It's a job, a mission.
A mission, a
Like he
bloody
did the
deed.
deed to do the deed.
An intentional act. Yeah, exactly. Especially a very bad or a very good one. Yeah, I heard this one also. She's always helping people and doing good deeds. It seems to me that a lot of evil deeds are done in the name of religion. And also a legal document in law.
But in this context,
Yeah, in this
it's
context,
more
an
of like an
intentional
action.
action. Exactly. So, however, the official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody action, and instead handed him over to a shepherd and his wife with instructions that they put the child to the death. So they handed him over to a shepherd. I don't know this word. It's like
The person who herds sheep.
Okay, wait. Yeah, you're right. Now I remembered. Okay. You're right. Dictionary says a person whose job is to take care of sheep and moved them from one place to another. Shepherd boy. Actually, it's like shepherd, right? Shepherd. But its
Shepherd.
H is
Yeah,
silent.
I've never really thought too much. The what?
Yeah,
The H is silent.
yeah,
Yes,
the
that's
H
what I
is
was telling
silent.
people. I have a last name like that, and people
Uh-huh,
tend to want to pronounce it saying like physical, like
uh-huh,
the F sound when the H is actually silent. So my last name, you just make the P sound. But yeah,
uh-huh,
exactly.
Yep. So shepherd. Like another word we learned yesterday was a kind vehicle, right? Vehicle. The H is silent. Vehicle, not vehicle or something. Vehicle.
Oh yeah, I get
Yeah,
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So, however, the official entrusted with the job of killing the infant had no heart for such a bloody action, and instead handed him over to a shepherd and his wife with instructions that they put the child to death. But they too were unwilling to kill the boy and instead reared him as their own. Reared, we learned this one, it's like raised him, right? As a verb
Yes.
means raise. Rear has two meanings, you all know, as an adjective at the back of something, but as a verb, to care for young animals or children until they're able to care for themselves. So, but they too were unwilling to kill the boy and instead reared him as their own. Ultimately, or finally, when the child grew up, he indeed caused the king's downfall. Downfall, kind of self-explanatory, right? Um, collapse, or we can say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So who wants to read the next paragraph? Till here again. If anyone has any question, just stop me and ask. So who wants to starting from here?
Okay. The story, the details may be found in Herodotus, seems obviously fictitious, and virtually nothing is known of Cyrus's early years. We do know that sometime about 558 BC or 558 BC, Cyrus succeeded his father Cambyses. I don't know the correct pronunciation, guys. So yeah, Cambyses the first as king of the Persians, which made him a vassal of the Median king. About 553 BC, however, Cyrus rebelled against his overlord, and after a war lasting for 3 years, he succeeded in overthrowing him.
So let's review this story. The details may be found in, I don't know, it's like a book, I guess. Seems obviously fictitious, like fake, right? Fictitious, like fake, right?
No, it's not
Actually,
fictitious.
wait,
Fictitious.
fictitious. You're right. It's different. It's like so. It means what?
Yeah, like a fake story. We
Uh,
actually have had this word a fair few times in the last few
like
days.
fictional, right? Fictional,
Yes,
uh,
yes. So then, if someone tells you a story that you don't believe and you think that they're lying, you can say, I don't know, the story kind of sounds a bit fictitious here. You wouldn't say
uh,
it sounds fiction. You can, however, say it sounds fictional, but I would say that the most common one that you'd use would be like, it sounds fictitious, meaning this just
hmm.
doesn't sound real.
Yeah, invented and not true or not existing. Fictitious. So what was that fictitious? It's in my mind. I don't know.
I don't know the word you mean, like fictitious. I
Maybe
don't
it's
know this
not.
word.
Okay, okay, sorry. But fictional and yeah, it's like that. Also fictional. It was like, I guess, this imaginary, a fictional story. Kind of the root is the same. He dismissed recent rumors about his private life as fictitious. Characters in this novel are entirely fictitious. Okay, so this story seems obviously fictitious, and virtually nothing is known of Cyrus's early years. We do know that sometime about 558 BC, Cyrus succeeded his father, this person, as king of the Persians, which made him a vassal of the Median king. So a vassal, again, as you explained, lower rank, right? Lower, it's like a person.
Subordinate?
Sorry. Subordinate. Sorry, subordinate was kind of lower rank, and vassal is like a person who is loyal to a king, right? He was like that.
Yes. They are loyal to the king. However, another name that it can be used for vassal is also subordinate. There's someone who are like a subordinate in that they're under the most, powerful person. They're not the, first and foremost important person.
Yeah, a man who agreed to fight for a king or lord when needed in exchange for land to live on. So again, we do know that sometime about 558, Cyrus succeeded his father as king of the Persians, which made him a vassal of Median king. About 553 BC, however, Cyrus rebelled against his overlord. Rebelled? We had this one a lot. It's like to kind of take over, but it's like
To go against.
to go against is so much better. To go against the government, against a person, against everything. It can be by a person or a group of people. Exactly. So rebelled against his overlord, and overlord in this case like his master or.
Yeah, these are like some titles, obviously, from that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sounds like someone who's on top or like in charge.
Master. Yeah, a person in a position
From
of
the
power,
past,
especially in the past.
exactly.
I don't know what's the difference between overlord and lord. This is Merriam-Webster. A lord over other lords. Yep. Yeah, an absolute or supreme ruler. One having great power or authority. Exactly. And also over lordship. Okay, so about 553 BC, however, Cyrus rebelled or went against his overlord, and after a war lasting for 3 years, succeeded in overthrowing him, in defeating him, removing him from power. Okay, who wants to read the next paragraph? I guess it's quite short, so wait. I don't know. Let's go paragraph by paragraph. It's better, I guess. Although it's short. Who wants to read starting from here? You can read again also if you want, everyone. Go
Okay.
ahead. Thank you.
The Medes and the Persians were very closely related, both in origins and in language. Since Cyrus retained most of the laws of the Medes and much of their administrative procedure as well, his victory over the Medes was more like a change of dynasty, I guess, than a foreign conquest.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's just some words procedure, right? Procedure. And this one, dynasty. Dynasty. The stress is on the first level, not dynasty. If you say dynasty, you're placing it on the second level, right? Dynasty, first level. Okay, and conquest. Thank you. So the Medes of the Persians were very closely related, both in origins and in language. Since Cyrus retained most of the laws of the Medes and much of their administrative procedure as well, his victory over the Medes were more like a change of dynasty than a foreign conquest. So since Cyrus retained most of the laws, kept, right? Kept most of the laws, past tense of keep, of the Medes, and much of their administrative procedure as well. And yep, change of dynasty. Dynasty again is like
Sorry?
not group of rulers, right? It's like from the same family. It's like rulers that or leaders that are from the same family, right? You call dynasty,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
Series of rulers.
there's actually a TV show which is like, Bloodline. It shows like a family of like these really powerful, important people. So yeah, a dynasty is like this a line of really powerful rulers. Yeah,
Who
exactly.
are all from the same family, or a period when a country is ruled by them. That period also is a dynasty. For example, the Mughal
Yes.
dynasty ruled over India for centuries. Okay.
And I just wanted to say again, for
Mhm.
those who are curious, like Alex said, it's like dynasty for the American pronunciation, and for the British one, it's dynasty.
Yeah. Okay. So, like a change of dynasty than a foreign conquest. Conquest, action of taking over. Who wants to read the next paragraph, starting from here?
Cyrus, though, soon showed that he desired foreign conquests also. His first target was the Lydian Empire in Asia Minor, ruled by King Croesus, a man of legendary wealth. Cyrus's iron proved more than a match for Croesus' gold, and by 546 BC, Cyrus had conquered the Lydian Empire and made Croesus his prisoner.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, this is iron. So Cyrus, though, soon showed that he desired foreign conquest also. His first target was the Lydian Empire in Asia Minor, ruled by the king, I don't know, by this king, a man of legendary wealth. Legendary, kind of self-explanatory over here, right? It's like, a lot of wealth. But mostly legendary, it can be fictional also in other cases. So Cyrus's iron proved more than a match for this person's gold. Wow, okay. And by 546 BC, Cyrus had conquered the Lydian Empire and made this person his prisoner. Okay, I don't know, this person is like the pronunciation. Croesus.
That's a tough one.
Croesus. So
I
who is
could
Croesus?
pronounce,
Lydian Kingdom.
but
Mhm.
yeah, not sure either.
Okay. So where's Lydian Kingdom? I don't know. It's like,
Apparently, the pronunciation is Croesus.
yeah, Croesus, exactly. Lydian is like over here. Okay. So, yeah. Who wants to read the next paragraph until here? Starting from here.
Cyrus then turned his attention to the east, and in a series of campaigns, subdued all of eastern Iran and incorporated it into his empire. By 540 BC, the Persian Empire extended as far east as the Indus River in India and the Jaxartes, modern-day Shirdaya in Central Asia.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, this is series, right? The exact one, series, right? Not series or something. Yep, thank you, appreciate it. So Cyrus then turned his attention to the east, and in a series of campaigns, subdued all of eastern Iran and incorporated it into his empire. So subdued in this case, I don't know, because I heard subdued, in other cases, it's like a, for lighting and color. But in
Yeah,
this
like it's
case,
subdued, meaning it's not standing out. A subdued person is someone who's also like very reserved, very shy. But subdue in this context, it's talking about being able to bring someone under their control. Essentially, they were conquered and he was controlling them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like to suppress, I guess. Dictionary says to reduce the force of something or to prevent something from existing or developing. Yep. And I don't know another meaning. Yeah, to reduce the force of someone or something. For example, she'd be hard to subdue if she got mad. Okay. And subdued itself as an adjective, if a color or light is subdued, it's not very bright. Subdued lighting, for example. Kind of like bleak, right? But um, I'm not sure because bleak, I guess it was.
It's more of like it's not loud, it's not garish, it's not lurid. It's it's not harsh, like where you're like, well, like it does not necessarily mean that the color is bleak. I think bleak is a little bit too strong.
Subdued. Wait, why is? Okay. Yeah, if a place is bleak, it's empty and non-welcoming or attractive, so it's kind of different. Yeah.
Yes, like I said, bleak is much worse. Whereas like subdued, it's more like it's more reserved. It's not as showy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But here it's like to reduce the force or to prevent something from developing. Cyrus then turned his attention to the east and in a series of campaigns subdued all of eastern Iran and incorporated it into his empire. Incorporated here means, it's like annex, right? An advanced synonym.
Oh no, it's to include. Okay. It's
To
it's
include most
basically to
likely,
include.
but here, including another country, kind of like annex, right? So incorporate, it says to include something as part of something larger, but annex is like kind of taking over, but to take possession of an area of land of a country, usually by force or without permission. But
Yeah, but
most likely
like
annex
the thing
is for
it's just
war,
this one
right?
is just conquering though. This is just
Yeah.
conquering. Essentially, this is just conquering. The other one he not only conquered, but he decided to include them so that it's all part of the same entity, right?
Yeah, exactly. 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 And incorporated
And
is so general, you can use it everywhere.
yeah, just be mindful with the pronunciation of incorporated. I don't know how you're saying it, but yeah, it's incorporated.
I said, let me read it again. All of Eastern Iran and incorporated it into his empire. Is right? Incorporated.
No, incorporated.
Incorporated. Okay. Yeah, the stress is on core. So and incorporated. Yeah, it's like that. Okay. And the stress is on K and C. So again, Cyrus then turned his attention to the east, and in a series of campaigns subdued all of eastern Iran and incorporated it into his empire. By 540 BC, the Persian Empire extended as far east as the Indus, I don't know, river in India, and this place, modern day, I don't know, this place in Central Asia. Okay.
Daria.
Sedaria? Okay.
I just
Sedaria.
simply read that.
Okay. So there's an image here. It says Cyrus the Great and the Persian Empire. All of this? Wait, what happened? So it says this is Lydian Empire. Over here, Lydian Empire, and Empire of the Medes. Where's this is Empire of the Medes over here. All of that, and I don't know, Babylonian Empire, I guess it's where. It's over here. Okay. Yeah. And you can see this is India over here, Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, Caspian Sea, Black Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea. Okay. And I don't know. It's like this is Egypt also. Okay. It's like all of them incorporated to the meats, I guess.
With his rear protected, Cyrus could now concentrate on the richest prize of all. The wealthy I don't know, Babylonian Empire centered in Mesopotamia, but ruling the entire fertile crescent of the ancient Middle East. Unlike Cyrus, the Babylonian ruler.
You just skip the names, just
Okay.
say this place,
Okay,
or,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know, was not popular with his subjects. When Cyrus's armies advanced, the blah blah troops had no taste for the pointless struggle, and in 539 BC, this place surrendered to Cyrus without a fight, as the blah blah empire had included Syria and Palestina. Those regions too were added to the domains under Cyrus's control.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know this one is Palestine. I know just
Palestine.
this one. Yeah, Palestine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. So let's review quickly. With his rear protected, Cyrus could now concentrate on the richest prize of all. So his rear protected is like, his back protected. I guess all of this means like, he had support, right? I'm not sure. I guess so. So with his rear protected, Cyrus could now concentrate on the richest prize of all, the wealthy Babylonian, I guess, empire. Let me check this one because it's so common in this context.
Babylonian.
Babylonian. Okay. Okay. The wealthy Babylonian empire centered in this place, but ruling the entire this place of the ancient Middle East. Unlike Cyrus, the Babylonian ruler, this person was not popular with his subjects. Subjects here means what? With his subjects.
It's like the vassals, something like that.
Sorry, like what?
Like vassals, people who work to the king.
Yeah, it's people who work under you. You're
Wow.
like kind of. I think it's even a vassal. Like we mentioned earlier, could also be defined as a subject. They're under the king. They work for him, and they're part of his kingdom.
Yeah, I never knew that it can be that.
Yeah.
In dictionary, the person or thing that performs the action. No, not this one.
Person.
This one. Yep. A person who lives in or who has the right to live in a particular country, especially a country with a king or queen, is a British subject. Kind of like citizen, but different.
You can live here as long as you're subject. As long as you are subjected to rule by me. That's what you mean.
Okay.
Or you can buy this or use this service subject to terms and conditions. That's the same thing, But that's a verb.
Okay. So when Cyrus's armies advanced, the I kind of forgot Babylonian, right? Babylonian troops had no taste for the pointless struggle, and in 539 BC, Babylon surrendered to Cyrus without a fight. Okay, so surrendered, accepting defeat. We had this one a lot. To stop fighting and admit defeat, they would rather die than surrender to the invaders. So, as the Babylonian Empire has included Syria and Palestine, those regions too were added to the domains under Cyrus's control. Okay.
I read it as domains.
Domains?
domains.
So let's see. Domain. Okay. Yeah. Okay. In my country, we say domain, but okay. Sorry for that.
It's okay.
Yeah, and domain is like an area of interest or an area over which a person has control, or it has a lot of meaning. In
We used to say
also a set
internet
of
domain, but then we
websites.
stopped using that. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, who wants to read the next paragraph, starting from here, ending here?
Cyrus spent the next few years consolidating his rule and reorganizing the enormous empire that he had won. Then he led an army to the northeast to conquer the Massagetæ. I don't think it's Massagetæ. Massagetæ, who were nomadic tribes living in Central Asia, east of the Caspian Sea. The Persians were victorious in an early skirmish, but in a second battle fought in 529 BC, they were they were defeated, and Cyrus, ruler of the greatest empire the world had yet seen, was slain.
Okay, thank you. So Cyrus spent the next few years consolidating his rule and reorganizing the enormous empire that he had won. So consolidating means, strengthening the foundation or to become or cause something to become stronger and more certain. For example, the success of their major product consolidated the firm's position in the market. To make something stronger. In chess also is very common. Sometimes you should consolidate your position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Cyrus spent the next 5 years consolidating his rule, strengthening his rule, and reorganizing the enormous empire that he had won. Huge empire that he had won. Then he led an army to the northeast to conquer this place, who were nomadic tribes living in Central Asia. So tribe, you all know, a group of people who live together, but who live together, sharing the same language, culture, and history, especially those who don't live in towns or cities. A tribe of Amazonian, Amazonian Indians, I guess so, or this one.
The Maasai tribes.
And nomadic, I kind of forgot. It was like
try nomad.
Nomadic. Moving from one place to another rather than living in one place of all time. Exactly. Now I remember.
See nomad, yeah.
Nomad. Yeah, a member of a group of people who move from one place to another rather than living in one place all of the time. For example, a tribe of
Somalians.
Somalian desert nomads. So then he led an army to the northeast to conquer or to take over this place, who were nomadic tribes living in Central Asia, east of the Caspian Sea.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Is this ancient Persian and Cyrus the Great?
Yeah, this article is about ancient Persian and Cyrus the Great. We read about Alexander the Great before also.
I'm Persian, so that's why I knew it.
Okay, good for you. So, the Persians were victorious in an early skirmish. So victorious adjective for being successful. We're successful in an early skirmish, but I don't know this was like skirmish. It's like a war or something.
It's a quick battle, usually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. A fight between a small number of soldiers that is usually short and not planned and happens away from the main area of fighting in a war. Yeah, also a short argument. Okay, skirmish. So
rarely used though. I don't see that a lot. They always say argument or fight.
Me too. Okay, the Persians were victorious or successful in an early skirmish, or a quick battle. But in a second battle, fought in 529 BC, fought past tense of fight. They were defeated, and Cyrus, ruler of the greatest empire the world had yet seen, was slain. Slain, I kind of forgot, was like...
Past tense of slay, meaning was killed.
Okay. Now makes sense. To kill in a violent way. Now
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember. Yep, but it's kind of, again, mainly used to murder someone. This one. He was found slain in an alley 2 blocks from his apartment.
To highlight how grotesque, how violent it was. But you never see slay in newspapers. Like, not never, but you don't see as much as slain because newspaper want to sell big headlines. So they want to talk about the victim. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, past tense of a slay is slew, and
Correct.
past participle is a slain. Was
Yeah.
a slain. Yep. So was killed. So again, but in a second, so from here, I guess, but in a second, here is better. The Persians were successful in an early skirmish, in an early battle, but in a second battle, fought in 529 BC, they were defeated, and Cyrus, ruler of the greatest empire the world had yet seen, was slain, was killed. Okay, who wants to read? Again, if anyone has any question, just stop me and ask about the words. So who wants to read the next paragraph, starting from here?
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Cyrus was succeeded by his son, Cambyses II. Cambyses defeated the Massagetei in a return engagement, recovered his father's body, and buried it at Pasargadae, the old Persian capital. Cambyses then went on to conquer Egypt, thus uniting the entire ancient Middle East into a single empire.
Thank you.
Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Let's review and then here. So Cyrus was succeeded by his son, this person. This person defeated, I guess this is a place in a return.
The tribe. Remember the tribe from before?
This is the tribe. Okay. In a return engagement. So here, engagement, you all know, it's like kind of,
engaging in battle. So
yeah, it's like an agreement, right?
No, because they killed his dad, so now the son killed them back, right? And get his father's body.
So, so you means what in this case? It's like
engage in battle. When you engage someone in battle, is an engagement, right? You're holding someone's hands down to do something, right? So you're forcing them to fight. They have to lose some people. You have to lose some people, but something has to happen, and someone's gonna win, and whoever wins decide what happens. Make sense?
Yeah, I found it. Begin fighting, the act of beginning to fight someone or a period of time in a war, a military engagement. I didn't know that engagement means also a war, beginning a fight. But engagement, you all know, an agreement to marry someone, an arrangement to meet someone or to do something at a particular time, a dinner engagement, or but in this case, and also the fact of being involved with something. But in this case, is starting a war in a return engagement. So Cyrus was succeeded by his son, and his son defeated this tribe in a return war or battle, recovered his father's body, and buried it at this place, the old Persian capital. And this person then went on to conquer Egypt. Thus, I guess it's like uniting, right? Uniting the entire ancient Middle East into a single empire. Okay. So who wants to read the next paragraph?
Anyone can read.
Yeah, anyone
Do you want me
can
to
read.
read again?
Until here is quite long, starting from this point.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you
Anyone
can go ahead. again. Go ahead. Thank you.
Cyrus was clearly a leader of immense military ability, but that was only one facet of the man. More distinctive, perhaps, was the benign character of his rule. He was exceptionally tolerant of local religions and local customs, and he was disciplined to the extreme brutality and cruelty which characterized so many other conquerors. The Babylonians, for instance, and even more notably the Assyrians, had massacred many thousands and had exiled whole peoples whose rebellions they feared. For example, when the Babylonians had conquered Judea in 586 BC, they had deported much of the population to Babylon. But 50 years later, after Cyrus had conquered Babylonia, he gave the Jews permission to return to their homeland. Were it not for Cyrus, therefore, it seems at least possible that the Jewish people would have died out as a separate group in the 5th century BC. Cyrus's decision in this matter may have had political motivations. Nevertheless, there seems little doubt that he was remarkably humane ruler for his time. Even the Greeks, who for a long period considered the Persian Empire to be the chief threat to their own independence, never ceased to regard Cyrus as a thoroughly admirable ruler.
Admirable, exactly. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, this is a bit tricky. Admire, the verb is
It's
admire,
admirable.
but this one is admirable, not admirable.
No, that's how we pronounce it in Australia. Admirable.
Yeah.
That's
No,
how we
I'm
pronounce
Australian too. I'm Australian too. It's admirable.
Then they have different pronunciations.
Okay, so thank you. Let's review. Cyrus was clearly a leader of immense military ability, immense, huge. But that was only one facet of the man. I don't know this. It's like what? Facet? Does anyone know?
I'm back.
It says facet, one part of the
Facet,
subject situation.
yeah.
It's like, or in this case, it's like equality or something. Only one facet, only one part of the man.
One
right? It's
side,
like
yeah,
one
one side of him.
Yeah, yeah. One angle, you can say, in the way of thinking, one aspect, one side. Okay, facet. There's always one facet of my golf game that isn't working. Okay. So Cyrus was clearly a leader of immense military ability, but that was only one facet of the man. More distinctive, perhaps, was the, I don't know this one, benign character. Wow, a lot of words today, I don't know. Wait, we had this one. We had this one.
Yeah.
We had this one. Yeah, it's like benign, and the opposite was
malignant.
Malignant, exactly.
Malignant and benign. We had this one. Pleasant and kind. A benign old lady, but in disease, a benign growth is not cancer and is not likely to be harmful. For example, a benign tumor, and malignant is
it's a great way
opposite.
of remembering the word if you look at it from a cancer perspective. A benign tumor, like, taken out, it's not going to be like harmful to you, but malignant, that's the deadly shit. That could actually could be deadly.
Likely to be harmful, exactly. Okay, so, and here benign character is the kind character. More distinctive, perhaps, was the benign character of his rule. Okay, so benign also, the first meaning, pleasant and kind character. So more distinctive here is like more noticeable, can say the synonym, more specific. So he was exceptionally tolerant of local religions and local customs. Okay, so tolerant means, you all know, it's like being patient. So he was exceptionally tolerant of local religions and local customs, and he was This inclined to the extreme brutality and cruelty which characterized so many other conquerors. So he was, and this inclined, it's like unveiling, right?
Sorry,
Because
I'm making a smoothie, so I'm not as like quick to respond. But like with the word tolerant, sorry, tolerant, it's more of like, you know, someone who's open-minded, less more about patience. They will listen. But I suppose, yeah, you could say a patient person will listen. But like, yeah, it's more of like willing. You're more open to different ideas. You're tolerant. Doesn't mean that you will accept them, but yeah, you're open-minded.
Yeah, exactly. So he was exceptionally tolerant of local regions and local customs, and he was disinclined to the extreme brutality and cruelty which characterized so many other conquerors. So this incline means, you know, to prefer something. I'm inclined to something, for example, and disincline is like unwilling.
Yeah.
So, and he was unwilling to the extreme brutality and cruelty which characterized so many other conquerors. The Babylonians, for instance, and even more notably, I don't know how to pronounce
Assyrians.
Assyrians. Okay.
Assyrians, yeah.
So more notably in this case means you all know more considerably or noticeably.
So the Babylonians and even more so the Assyrians.
Yeah, exactly. The Babylonians, for instance, and even more notably, the Assyrians had massacred many thousands and had exiled whole peoples whose rebellion they feared. So massacre, we had this one, killing a lot of people, right? It's like um, um, a large number of people. We had
Killing
this
people
one.
senselessly without actually caring who they are. Just some people you don't like. Yeah.
Killing. An act of killing a lot of people. He ordered the massacre of 2,000 women and children. Okay, so again, the Babylonians, for instance, and even more notably, the Assyrians had massacred or killed many thousands and had exiled whole people to rebellion they feared. Exiled, we had this one a lot, moving someone or a group of people to somewhere else, most likely outside the country for political reasons, right? Sent away from your own country, town, etc., especially for political reasons. The exiled king, the verb is exile. The condition of someone being sent or kept away from their own country, village, etc., especially for political reasons. The king went into exile because of the political situation in his country. So,
also say another word that goes hand in hand with massacre is also genocide, but that is usually used when referring to a certain like particular ethnic group or whatever. But yeah, they're very much closely related.
Most likely for their race, religion, for their nation. So the Babylonians, for instance, and even more notably, the Assyrians had massacred many thousands and had exiled whole people whose rebellion they feared. Okay.
I think it's pronounced exiled.
Exiled,
you got
right?
it correct the first time.
I said
Yeah,
what?
yeah, you got it correct the first time.
I said exiled. Exiled. Sorry, the stress is in the first syllable. Yeah, exiled. Yeah, I said exile. That is wrong. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, for example, when the Babylonians had conquered this place in 586 BC, they had deported much of the population to Babylon. And deported, I guess, is like exile, right?
It's interesting, right? When you see LN, it's Babylon, right? But then it's pronounced Babylon.
Babylon.
Yeah, Babylon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the only exception when you see LN.
So let's see what Alex says. So let me show you. So in British, Babylon, but in American, Babylon. Okay. Interesting. So Yep, and deport, I guess it should be like exile. Deport.
Deporting and exile is slightly different. When I deport you, it's just because like it says here, no legal right. I don't have to hate you. But exile is like, you committed a crime, I need to get you out, or you're unpopular, I need to get you out.
Exile can also be permanent, but like Alex said, it's more about like you've done something like an egregious action, whereas like deported, you might not just belong, like you might have unlawfully entered like a country, and it's their rights, like it is their right to deport you. But exile, it's usually like, how in the old days, if a king was not doing like the job, like I'm talking about Asia here or whatever, there could easily be like they could do a coup and then they'd exile that person if they didn't kill him.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And if you see the example, thousands of illegal immigrants are caught and deported every year, or the refugees were deported back to their country of origin. And Alex, you wanted to reveal something about.
You can be deported, and 3 years later you can come back. But when you're exiled, you know why you shouldn't come back anyways, because the situation isn't right. But like you see in the case of Confucius and other notable thinkers here, they are exiled, but they do come back after 35 years when most people have died or forgot about you. Most of the old people, they probably not care about what you're doing, or you're too old to represent a threat. So you can come back. It's not illegal for you to come back. You're just sentenced to exile.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. If you come back, we will catch you and put you in jail, or we will send you out again. But after 35 years, you can come back because you are so old, nobody cares.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas deporting is a matter of national security, right?
Yeah, exactly. For example, when the Babylonians had conquered this place in 586 BC, they had deported much of the population to Babylon. But 50 years later, after Cyrus had conquered Babylonia, he gave the Jews permission to return to their homeland. Were it not for Cyrus, therefore, it seems at least possible that the Jewish people would have died out as a separate group in the 5th century BC. Cyrus's decision in this matter may have had political motivations. Nevertheless, there seems little doubt that he was a remarkably humane ruler for his time. Even the Greeks, so human rule is like gentle or
just kind, just
kind,
using your heart.
Merciful or showing compassion.
Merciful.
So that he was a remarkably, so again, nevertheless, there seems little doubt that he was a remarkably humane ruler for his time, merciful ruler for his time. Even the Greeks, who for a long period considered the Persian Empire to be the chief main threat to their own independence, never ceased to regard Cyrus as a thoroughly admirable ruler. So never stopped to regard Cyrus as a thoroughly admirable ruler, completely admirable ruler. Okay, never stopped to regard Cyrus, to consider Cyrus as a completely admirable ruler. Okay. Again, if anyone has any question about the words, just stop me and ask. So who wants to read the next paragraph, starting from here?
So well had Cyrus done his work that even after his death, the Persian Empire continued to expand. It endured, in fact, for about 200 years until its conquest by Alexander the Great. For most of those 2 centuries, the lands ruled by Persia enjoyed internal peace and prosperity.
Thank you. So well had Cyrus done his work that even after his death, the Persian Empire continued to expand. It endured, in fact, for about 200 years. It lasted until its conquest by Alexander the Great. We read about him before. And conquest, the action of taking over. For most of those 2 centuries, the land ruled by Persia enjoyed internal peace and prosperity, success. Prosperity means success. Okay, who wants to read the next paragraph until here, starting from this point?
Hello, can I?
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Alexander Conquest did not mark the permanent of the Persian Empire. After Alexander's death, one of his generals, Seleucus I Nicator, gained control of Syria and Iran, thereby establishing the Seleucid Empire. However, foreign control over Iran or Iran did not last very long. In the middle of the 3rd century BC, there was a rebellion against Seleucid rule, led by Cyrus I, who claimed who claimed to be descended from the Achaemenids, the dynasty of Cyrus. The kingdom founded by Arsaces, known as the Parthian Empire, eventually gained control over Iran and Mesopotamia. In 224 AD, the Arsaces rulers were replaced by a new Persian dynasty, the Sassanids, who likewise claimed descent from the Achaemenids, and whose empire endured for over 4 centuries.
Thank you, appreciate it. So let's
Thank you.
review. Alexander's conquest did not mark the permanent end of the Persian Empire. After Alexander's death, one of his generals, I guess
Seleucus.
Seleucus the First, Nicator, I guess. Okay. So Seleucus the First, Nicator, gained control of Syria, Mesopotamia, and Iran, thereby establishing the Seleucid the Seleucid Empire. However, foreign control over Iran did not last very long. In the middle of the 3rd century BC, there was a rebellion against Seleucid rule, led by Arsaces.
This one, yeah, I looked it up. It's either Arsaces or Arsaces, but then you said Arsaces and it sounds good anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
these words, even I'm like, I have no idea how to pronounce these words at all.
I'm just
pretty
afraid
sure
of
it's Arsaces.
Yeah, I'm just afraid of pronouncing it too much like Greek because these are not Greek people. So I don't want to say like Arsaces and then I'm just trying to change it a little bit.
I'm fluent in Persian, but I still cannot understand these, like, because it's like the English version of Persian words, so it doesn't sound as well.
Okay. So So again, in the middle of the 3rd century BC, there was a rebellion against Seleucid rule led by Arsaces I, who claimed to be descended from the Achaemenids, the dynasty of Cyrus. Who be descended, we had this one. The kingdom founded by Arsaces, known as the Parthian Empire, I guess, eventually gained control over Iran and Mesopotamia. In 224 AD, the Arsacids rulers were replaced by a new Persian dynasty, the Sassanids, who likewise claimed descent from the Achaemenids. Achaemenids, and whose empire endured or lasted for over 4 centuries. So here, who likewise claimed descent is the noun for being descended, right? Is the noun for that.
Yeah.
Yep. I had this one also in Anki. Let me show you. It has 2 meanings. For example, it moving down, right? We checked this one, but let me show you. And the pronunciation is different. Wait, it was descent. This one.
I don't see any different pronunciation.
Yeah. another word. So the first one is decent, right? A decent person, right? A decent person, socially accepted or good. I thought he was a decent person, but the next one is descent. Descent. The third is different. So descent means a movement down. For example, the plane began its final descent into the airport. Or the origin of people in your family background. For example, if their mother is of Irish descent, means family origin. Their family origin is Irish. Yep. And in this case, claimed descent from the Achaemenid, and whose empire lasted for over 4 centuries. Okay. Who wants to read? I guess this is there is kind of one page left after this paragraph. Who wants to read the next paragraph? Starting from here.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Thank you.
The career of Cyrus the Great represents one of the major turning points in world history. Civilization had first arisen in Sumeria, somewhat before 3000 BC. For over 25 centuries, the Sumerians and the various Semitic peoples who succeeded them, such as the Akkadians, the Babylonians, and the Assyrians, had been at the very center of civilization. For all that time, Mesopotamia had been the richest and most culturally advanced region of the world, with the exception of Egypt, which was roughly on the same level. But Cyrus' career, which incidentally marks roughly the midpoint of recorded history, brought that chapter of world history to an end. From then on, neither Mesopotamia nor Egypt was the center of civilized world, either politically or culturally.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So
Yeah,
the
it's good.
career. Yeah, your pronunciation this time was so good.
Yeah, but I heard career, but it's career.
Exactly.
Career.
Yeah.
Career.
He's pronouncing it like to carry something.
Yeah, carrier.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have. It's career. Career. Yeah. So like K-E,
Yeah, this one.
K-E, yeah, sounds like a K-E. Yeah.
Yeah, if you say carrier, it's a person who it's like a person who carries something, right?
No, I mean she's just
But here,
if you hear it, yeah, it sounds like that.
Career. Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Or you can say a
announcement.
telephone carrier, and then you have politically, although I think that's probably British, but carrier, career is the same for US and UK. Politically, I guess it's just my UK pronunciation. It's probably okay to say politic. I don't know, like without the emphasis.
Okay.
What did you say before?
He said it.
What was the way she said it?
Politically or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if the US has a very unusual stress on pol, like politically.
Okay. I feel you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So the career of Cyrus the Great represents or shows one of the major turning points in the world history. Civilization had first arisen at Sumeria. So, you're right. Arisen, like drive and driven. Yeah, arisen. Yeah, you caught me. Civilization had first arisen in Sumeria, someone before 3000 BC. For over 25 centuries, the Sumerians and the various Semitic peoples who succeeded them, such as, I don't know, this one and this one and this ones.
All tribes, all people, yep.
Yeah, all people as Babylonians, Assyrians had been at the very center of civilization. For all that time, Mesopotamia had been the richest.
Do you remember what Semitic means?
Semitic?
Jewish people.
Oh, you're right. You're an anti-Semitic.
Right?
We had anti-Semitic
yeah.
also. Yeah, Jewish people, exactly.
Just want to make sure everyone understands what's going on. Yeah.
And also anti-Semitic. We had this one. So yeah, exactly. So for all that time, Mesopotamia had been the richest and most culturally advanced region of the world, with the exception of Egypt, which was roughly or almost on the same level. But Cyrus's career, which incidentally marks roughly the midpoint of recorded history, brought that chapter of world history to an end. So here, which incidentally, accidentally, you can say, right? Or by the way, I guess it's better in this case, because incidentally, let me check, because I kind of have doubt. Sometimes it's like used before say something that is not as important as the main subject of the conversation, but it's connected to it. It's like by the way, most likely, not accidentally. Yeah, we had this one. I sometimes confuse between this and accidentally, but it's not. It's like by the way, you can say as a synonym. So
I just looked up something very strange because I saw for a moment on your screen, Semitic means Jewish or Arabic. And Arabic.
Really?
And then I'm like, it's true because they are from the same region back then, like what we're seeing around this passage. But then when you say you're a Jew hating person, you're an anti-Semite,
Yeah.
you're not trying to say you're
Exactly.
anti-Arab. But then every time you're Islamophobic,
Exactly.
you're not an anti-Semite. So what's going on here?
Wow. So technically, when someone says, yeah, someone is like, anti-Semitic, that could technically mean, you're against Arabic people as well.
But yeah, that's so strange. But then Hitler and his ilks, they hated the Jews for their banking, the control of the banks and their noses. But the noses do come from somewhere around the Arab region, isn't it? So it's kind of so I don't. Yeah, it's quite weird right now. Yeah.
I think one is the language group and one is like the ethnicity, because it says Arabic, Hebrew, and all those, because those are like a part of like a language, like family. But
yeah, but like not all
anti-Semitic.
Jews used to speak but not all Jews speak like Hebrew. It was more like when they were like against them, it wasn't because of language, it was because of their ethnic group, not the language they spoke.
It has two different distinct meanings. That's why, because one's relating to language and one's relating to the like Jews as a ethnicity.
So why I'm putting the blame on the guy that created the term anti-Semite, because it's not sufficient enough to distinguish that from the Arab group.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah,
placing the
exactly.
blame on that guy, not on the guy that created the word Semite, but on the group that created the word anti-Semite.
Decided to use it as anti-Jews. Yeah, exactly.
And now it's so popularized it's so popularized in the United States that it's indistinguishable from saying you don't like a Jew, but then you forgot that it has the same origin as whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and dictionary also says that, as you said, it's like includes Arabs and Jews, but anti-Semitic just because they are Jewish, not Arabs, or so hatred for Jewish people, not kind of weird. Okay, so but Cyrus's career, which by the way marks roughly the midpoint of recorded history, brought that chapter of world history to an end. From then on, neither Mesopotamia nor Egypt was the center of the civilized world, either politically or culturally. Okay. Civilized here is the adjective for civilization. So this is the last page. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
Yo, can I read?
Go ahead, thank you.
Furthermore, the Semitic peoples who made up the bulk of the population of the Fertile Crescent were not to regain their independence for many centuries to come. After the Persians and Indo-European people would come the Macedonians and the Greeks, followed by a long succession of Parthian, Roman, and Sassanid rulers, all of whom were Indo-Europeans. It was not until the Muslim conquest of the 7th century, almost 12 centuries after Cyrus the Great, that the Fertile Crescent was again controlled by Semitic peoples.
Thank you, appreciate it. So furthermore, the Semitic peoples or Jewish and also maybe Arabs, who made up the bulk of the population of the Fertile Crescent, so were not to regain their independence for many centuries to come. So in this case, bulk, we had this one, I guess, right? Was like, it's like mass of, right? Who made up the mass of the population of the, I don't know this place, it's like Fertile crescent, I guess, were not to regain or to regain means you all know, right? To retake sometimes, to obtain, again, it's like that. So furthermore, the Semitic peoples who made up the mass of the population of the Fertile Crescent were not to regain to their independence for many centuries to come after the Persians and Indo-European people were to come to the Macedonians and the Greeks, followed by a long succession of Parthian, Roman, and Sassanid rulers, all of whom were Indo-Europeans. So here, followed by a long succession, is like
continuation.
But succession, it has another meaning. I don't know. I kind of don't remember.
It means like they rule.
Like remember succeeded. Remember that word before? Like succeeded?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's like happening one after another. Yeah, it's like a number of similar events or people that exist after each other. Okay, life was just an endless succession of parties and dinners. Succession. And also a process in which someone automatically takes an official position or job after someone else. This one, yeah, exactly. Or it can be like
Not exactly a job.
king.
So when your parents die, aren't you their successor? You're carrying on the bloodline, right? So you have no choice. Yeah, automatically it happens. It's not a job though. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. His divorce will not prevent the Prince of Wales' succession to the throne. Exactly. Or who comes after the vice president in the presidential line of succession. Exactly.
The the Secretary of State usually, maybe someone else.
Yep. So after the Persians were to come the Macedonians and the Greeks, followed by long successions of Parthian, Roman, and Sassanid rulers, all of whom were Indo-Europeans. It wasn't until the Muslim conquest of the 7th century, almost 12 centuries after Cyrus the Great, that the Fertile Crescent was again controlled by Semitic peoples. Okay, it's better to search these places and see on the map, but it takes too much time because of that.
We learned this so many times already. We learned this so many times from, I forgot who we read, but
yeah, I remember Crescent. Yeah, but
even Muhammad was mentioning the Fertile Crescent, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Always those two rivers. That's the Fertile Crescent.
Yeah, exactly.
They also teach this in school, so I don't know why you don't know.
Yeah, I kind of know, but it's like
they teach this in school.
Yeah.
Not for Australia.
We didn't get. Unfortunately, we didn't get taught this because honestly, I don't know anything about this at all. But like maybe some schools, maybe my school didn't teach it.
Yeah, maybe. But not about this, Alex. A lot of names and places in this book, it's better to search.
Language,
in map, for example, and to see where.
What I learned, there were four civilizations: the Yangtze civilization, which is the Chinese one; the Egyptian one, which is the Nile civilization; and then you got the Fertile Crescent, which is the Euphrates or Tigris civilization; and then for the last one is the Indus civilization, which is the Indian civilization. The four oldest ones before recorded history, anyways. Yeah.
Okay.
So Alex, I just wanted to say before we move on. So I say population. You say population. Is that like the American pronunciation of saying population?
No, I say population. Population.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misheard you.
Yeah, maybe. Because of Discord noise cancellation. Also, yeah. But
Sounds
maybe
good.
I don't know. Maybe let's check together. So
Discord does not like non-natives.
Yeah, population always. Yeah, population. Population.
Yeah, I think also, Alex, I understand what you mean with the word like politically, the p sound. What you were saying earlier. Yeah.
When you're trying to say it fast enough, just so that someone understands you, then you don't say politically. You don't just say politically.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so it says he was not until the Muslim conquest of the 7th century, almost 12 centuries after Cyrus the Great, that the fertile Crescent was again controlled by Semitic peoples. Okay, who wants to read the next paragraph until here, starting from here?
I can read if you want.
Thank you.
Cyrus is significant not merely because he won a lot of battles and conquered a lot of territory. Of greater importance is the fact that the empire he established permanently altered the political structure of the ancient world.
Okay, thank you. I guess it was so obvious, but let's review fast, quickly. Cyrus is significant, is important, not just only because he won a lot of battles and conquered a lot of territory. Wait, a lot of territory or a lot of territories?
Are you expecting a lot of territories?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But maybe I'm
I
right.
expect that too.
Yeah. You see, it's countable or uncountable.
Yes.
You can, yeah.
Because
So
we're talking about one main territory, which is the Middle East. If you have several territories, you might include, let's say, India, maybe some part of Africa. But in this case, he's just referring to the Middle East, so maybe territory is in how large is the uncountable part of it. Maybe he can also use territories. No one would say anything, but it's up to him, I guess.
Enemy territory, the occupied territories, and yeah, this place's territory, but kind of weird. Maybe it's kind of old-fashioned. I don't know. Maybe in the okay. So Cyrus is significant not just only because he won a lot of battles and conquered a lot of territory. Of greater importance is the fact that the empire he established permanently altered the political structure of the ancient world. Okay.
You can say most of the colonial powers, they were occupying a lot of territories because they had parts of Southeast Asia, Africa, Americas. So you can't say territory. That would be wrong. But then you can also say territory as in the size, right? So it doesn't matter how small, how big, it's still the same uncountable territory.
Yeah, makes kind of.
By the way, can I ask something? There is in page there is people, Semitic peoples, it says, but isn't it just people?
Let me tell you.
No, I'm pretty sure the Semitic means the Arabs, the Jews, whoever was Semitic.
Yeah, the point
she's talking
you're
about the
asking for
word
grammar,
people.
right?
She's talking about plural or singular.
Yeah, let me tell you, because Semitic, we learned that is Jews and Arabs, right? So when people is also plural, but you can also say peoples, because you're referring to two different, group of people or, because of that. And also,
I just learned it today. It's called double plural. So you say there's a lot of fish in the sea, in the pond, right? But a lot of fishes because there are different kinds of fish. So
exactly.
so you got one school of fish, you got another school of fish. All those fish are fishes. So you have to say these people. So yeah, we all people. Yeah, we all want people in this planet, correct? But then we're also referring to, let's say, the Korean people and the Chinese people. So what do you say? You say these peoples. Yeah. So it's a double. Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
That's what I meant by the Arabs, the Jews, because there's more than just one people. So it would be.
Exactly. And also you can say persons.
Even though,
like,
even if it's about multiple people or multiple different racial groups, that's not necessarily to do with that. It's more to do with like a group of people. It doesn't matter what group it is, because we talk these words, like, we're not just referring to the time. It's also how they can be used now.
Yeah, like the Parthians and all that, they were all part of the same historical group. So we don't know who we are speaking about. We just know that they were occupied by the Greeks and those that related to them, the Romans and all that. And now they're not. That's what this sentence is trying to say.
Exactly.
Can you also say people in this case?
You kind of can, but he wants to convey a different meaning, right? So those peoples are different from these peoples. You see? So when you're trying to say something, you're trying to deliver as much information with as few words as possible. So one S changes everything, But you can say people, it's not wrong, It's just you're not saying as much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and
If
also
you
another
type in the
point.
word
Go ahead.
peoples,
Okay.
like it's here, like looking it up, it says it's a verb third person like present, and it's saying that the definition is a group of people inhabiting like a place.
Ah,
So,
that's another definition. Huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Can we have the source?
Did like Oxford?
Close
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Oxford.
Yeah.
So let me show you Oxford Dictionary. So you search peoples in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see.
What showed up? We're all learning here.
People. Okay, this one, right?
Yeah, you can't get peoples, right?
Yeah. In which part you mean? Here.
Did
All
you
the
type
people.
in plural though? Did you
Yeah, I
type in
typed in
plural with the
plural.
S? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So which part you mean?
Well, the thing is, I just typed it into Google and it said that that's the source. Like, I didn't type it within the
Okay,
Oxford
this
Dictionary
one you
itself.
mean?
Just
This one?
there. Yeah, the third one. There we go. One,
Yeah.
2, 3, number 3.
Yeah, exactly. Inhabit. Yeah. An arid mountain region, peopled by varying clans.
Boring.
That kind of, yeah. Inhabited. And arid, we have semi-arid also. It's like dry. So,
but that's weird because
yeah,
it's
that's
a
weird.
verb. Yeah, it's a verb. It means to people a place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. And another point is person, right? You can also say persons in some cases.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah,
plural of
exactly.
person is people, but you can also say persons for different persons from different cultures.
And and isn't it weird? It's spelled like Piopols.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
What? Oh, right. Yeah.
Piopols. Yeah.
Okay, let me. Yeah, someone sends me an image. Yeah, peoples. It's like people, and people's like. Yeah, Karl Marx, do you want to start?
All right.
Thank you.
The Persian Empire, despite its considerable territorial extent and duration, did not have nearly as great an impact on history as did such longer-lived empires as the Roman, British, or Chinese empires. But in estimating Cyrus' influence, one should keep in mind that what he accomplished would probably never have occurred without him. In 620 BC, a generation before Cyrus was born, no one would have suspected that within a century the entire ancient world would be under the rule of a previously obscure tribe from southwest Iran. Even in retrospect, it does not appear that the rise of the Persian Empire was one of those historical events which, because of pre-existing social or economic factors, was bound to happen sooner or later. Thus, Cyrus was one of those rare men who have actually altered the course of history.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So let's review the Persian Empire. Despite its considerable territorial extent and duration, did not have nearly as great an impact on history as did such longer-lived empires as Roman, British, or Chinese empires. But in estimating Cyrus's influence, one should keep in mind that what he accomplished or achieved would probably never have occurred without him. In 620 BC, a generation before Cyrus was born, no one would have suspected that within a century the entire ancient world would be under the rule of a previously obscure tribe from southwest Iran. So obscure, kind of like vague or ambiguous, right?
Never before seen.
Yeah,
unknown.
This is better in this case. Unknown is better in this case.
Yeah, when you obscure something, you're blocking it from view, right? So if I put a cloth on an object, I can't see the object anymore. It's obscured from view. In this case, it's obscured from most other people. Nobody knew they were around.
not known to many people. And another meaning not clear and difficult to understand or see, vague, ambiguous. You can consider, but in this case, not known is better.
Yeah,
so
unknown.
Unknown. No one would have suspected that within a century the entire ancient world would be under the rule of a previously obscure tribe, unknown tribe from southwest Iran. Even in retrospect, this one we had this one, right? It's like
in hindsight,
looking at the past.
Spec,
Hindsight is
perspective, right?
2020.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. Thinking now about something in the past. In retrospect, I think my marriage was doomed from the beginning. So even in retrospect, I guess together, most likely as a strong collocation. Even in retrospect, it doesn't appear that the rise of the Persian Empire was one of those historical events which, because of pre-existing social or economic factors, was bound to happen sooner or later. Was bound to happen, kind of self-explanatory. It's like
so
was
for example,
going to or
going
was
to.
meant to.
Yeah, it's
Past
like
tense of
that.
buying. But then not related to buying here. So, for example, the printing press, you can then predict everyone will get educated, then there'll be more ideas, and then the scientific revolution, right? But in this case, even with those existing conditions, you can't predict the Persian Empire. That's what he's trying to say here. That's why he has changed history.
Yeah. So thus Cyrus was one of those rare men who have actually altered the course of history, changed, and course of history, the period of history.
No, the direction of history.
Wait, this direction here.
The fate of
Course
the
has
world.
this is better. Course has a lot of meanings. Here means direction. Direction is better. A set of classes you all know, an area of land or water, for example, a golf course. And gradual development of something, or the way something happened, or way of doing something. Did the scandal have any effect on the course of the election, direction, or kind of like that? And also a period of time, the course of time, within a course of time, gradually, the direction in which a vehicle, especially an aircraft, spacecraft, or ship moves, or path along which a river flows. The pilot avoided a collision, or it was collision, by changing course, by changing direction. The verb is collide, but this is collision. Okay, and on course likely to happen. Wow, okay, a part of a medal. Okay, let's
Probably
move
the hardest word to teach in English.
Which one? What's the hardest word?
A lot of meanings,
it's
right?
not hard. There's so many definitions
right,
that
right. As a
if you
word.
started on day one with this word, your students will give up.
Yeah.
Part of medal. Also, if a fixed number, I mean, a continuous horizontal layer of breaks. I mean, are you kidding me? Wow.
It has a bajillion meanings.
Wow,
so
as
it
a
seems.
verb, I didn't know that. To flow quickly in large amounts.
Correct.
Wow,
This is
okay.
one of those. You want to
Here's where
course down a
coursing
river.
down.
Yes, a river that flows very fast, and you take a boat, you course down it. You're like boom, 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 boom. It's very fast. It's fun.
Every time I try and understand, I need a chug jug.
Yeah.
What?
I never tried whitewater rafting, but yeah, it's crazy fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So in this case, course is a mixture of direction and development, right? So the world was developing one way. This guy come around, changed the world, developed the other way.
Okay, and there is an image, the tomb of Cyrus the Great at
Pasagade.
Pasagade. Okay,
I've been there.
Okay, interesting.
Nice.
And
send us photos.
Pardon?
If you go there again, send us photos.
All right, yeah.
Because this
but I am Persian.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope you're proud of all this. Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. Today was about Cyrus the Great. We are having these sessions every day except Saturdays at 1 p.m. Universal Time.